Before I get started talking about all of the custom styling that we'll be doing to this particular Joomla website, I wanted to mention to you a couple of workflows that you can use for working with CSS inside of Joomla. I will be using Dreamweaver. In the previous two videos, I just integrated Dreamweaver and Joomla. And the reason I've chosen Dreamweaver for editing my Joomla files is because, first of all, I can blow the code up really big so that you can see it on video. That's probably not a consideration that you have for building your Joomla website. But second of all, Dreamweaver is just a great editing environment. It's got great code coloring. I can easily see what I'm doing. And I've worked with Dreamweaver for years, so I'm very comfortable with it. However, I've often said that if I was coming into this industry now without many years of experience, I might not really be using Dreamweaver as one of my core tools, particularly working in an open source environment. And I know that many of you who like open source software have a very strong commitment to using open source software in all aspects of your life. So I wanted to be sure to mention that just because I'm using Dreamweaver certainly does not mean that you need to use Dreamweaver. There are many other ways that you can edit CSS inside of Joomla. So let me just show you a few of those ways. First of all, of course, inside of the back end of Joomla, there is an editor for editing your CSS. If you go to Extensions, Template Manager, and you just find your template here in the list. Here's the Kinetico template. If I click on Kinetico here, this will put me into the interface where I can edit either my index.php, which is what's meant here by edit my main page template, or edit my CSS custom.css. I can click on either of these and I am able to get here to my style sheet and I can go ahead and type my styles on in here. So I could say body, background, color of red, and close that. And if I say save now, of course, every time I make a change to the style sheet, anytime I type something in here, I have to save. Then when I come to the front end of the website and I hit refresh, I can see what the effect was on that particular web page right away. And as you notice, I actually had no effect there from that style sheet. The problem that's going on right now is we currently have a bad path to the style sheet inside of the back end of Joomla. When we set up our index.php page, we set it up with a relative path going to the style sheet inside of Joomla. The same thing that we did with the images, but we fixed the path to the images now. We have not fixed the path to the style sheet, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video. But in any case, once your path to your style sheet is fixed, when you come in here and you refresh the page, you would be able to see any changes that you're making to that particular style sheet. You would have to be typing right here in the back end of Joomla. So this is one methodology that you can follow. If you don't like that, and it is a little bit awkward, you might prefer something that I've done for years, which is from the front end of my website, I use the web developer toolbar. So if you go to CSS, edit CSS, you can see all of your style sheets right here. You can look at those styles, you can make changes to those styles, whatever it is that you want to do. Of course, remember that some of these style sheets you should not be editing, but it's going to show you every style sheet associated with this page. And you can look at these and make whatever changes you want. For example, this is the call to the Ubuntu style sheet that we made that's going out to Google to pick up the Ubuntu font. We could go ahead and we could make changes to these styles. Once you've made changes to your styles here, you're going to have to copy and paste that back into Joomla, because when you use the web developer toolbar here and the CSS editing window, you're editing your local copy of this web page only. You are not making changes to the style sheet in the back end of Joomla. So the moment that you close this window, any changes that you have made to your CSS go away. You'll have to make sure that you copy the changes that you've made from your web developer toolbar and then go to the back end of Joomla and paste them into the style sheet. So this is another legitimate workflow. And like I said, I have used this workflow for years. I find it great when I'm working on a web server, but the disadvantage for me is that I don't think any of you will be able to read what I'm typing. Another way that you could do this is with some sort of third-party editor. Here's Notepad++. Which is one of these editors that's free that tons and tons of people love to use on a PC. If you're a Mac person, BBEdit is always a tool that comes up frequently. And of course, there's obviously tons and tons of these editors out there. If you go to File, Open, you're going to need to find your Joomla installation. So on my PC, that's under C, under WAMP, under www. Mac people, you would go to your applications, go to MAMP, go to the htdocs folders, and then you're going to find your templates folder, and you're going to find your Kinetico folder, and you're going to find CSS, and you open up custom CSS, and I could continue to edit my style sheet here. For example, I've made my body background color red, and I could make the text color here yellow for something truly hideous. If I said File Save, that would actually take effect on my website right away. And the reason I know that is because if I come to my back end of Joomla and I edit my style sheet again, you see that that style that I just typed in with Notepad++ is reflected right here inside of Joomla. So there's no copying and pasting to the back end of Joomla. I can just make those edits in Notepad++ and save, and they show up right here. So whatever workflow you decide works well for you with CSS, that is just great. You do not have to go out and buy a copy of Dreamweaver just so that you can edit your Joomla CSS files. Whatever tool that you want to use is perfectly okay. Just double check and make sure any changes that you're making are to the correct CSS file and that those changes are being reflected in Joomla, and you're good to go.